other words, teach your children the Bible. Teach your children the Bible. Your children do not need any help learning how to be bad. Because, right? We're going to get in that in a minute. Children are naturally bad. You say, not my little angels. Yes, your little angels too. Everybody that's been born is inherently bad. And so we're going to see that in a minute. But how can I make sure my kids have a good name? Well, it starts with a good testimony in your life, then training them in the way that should go. Parents, it's okay to correct your children when they do wrong. Amen? I mean, it's okay to say, hey, no. Why? Because what are you doing? You're training that child what is right and what is wrong. Because if you're not teaching them that, the world sure is teaching them that, oh, this is okay, right? And the world's messed up on what's okay. Don't let the world teach your kids that. It's okay, parents, to say, hey, child, you're doing wrong. It is okay to expect your child to represent your name well while they are out and about. Amen. It is okay. I mean, you ought to say, you are my child. You have my last name. You will represent it well, or there will be punishment, right? It's okay to put perimeters on your children. It's okay to tell your child no. Even if my child pitches a fit and cries and whines and says, Mom, you don't love me, right? Dad, you don't love me. Listen, I used to get on my dad all the time. Dad, you just don't love me. My dad, he put perimeters on me. Listen, there's safety within perimeters. I think of a little baby. That baby doesn't have a lot of freedom, especially when, they're starting to crawl. So oftentimes you'll put that baby in a confined area, right? Such as a playpen or one of those little things. You'll maybe make a little space for them. And that baby has all the sorts of freedom they want to within that playpen, right? Now they get in trouble when they try to go outside the perimeters. They say, well, I need freedom. No, God says, I'm giving you freedom, but it's in these parameters, and that's what we need to teach our kids. No, there's parameters. It's okay to tell your children no. It's okay to correct bad behavior. Why? You're training them up in the way that should go. Because if they never hear the word no while growing up, guess what? They're going to get a job one day, and that boss is going to tell them no. And I have seen this. I have seen full-grown adults pitch a hissy fit when they've been told no. I mean, it's like, don't tell me no. I've not been told no all my life. Why are you telling me no? Listen, it's because the mom and dad didn't go, hey, Johnny, no. All right? It's okay to tell your kids no. It's okay to say, not right now. It's okay to teach them. But why? Because when they're grown, you want them to be contributing members of society, right? Or we should want them to be contributing members of society, not spoiled brats, right? I mean that with all the love in my heart. I really do. But our society, we need to get a good dose of correcting our children again, teaching them what's right and what's wrong. And that's our responsibility as parents, as grandparents, because the world has a messed up idea of what is right. I mean, anything goes with the world today, and it's sad. So we've got, listen, parents, grandparents, you are the wall between the world, and they got to know what's right and what's wrong. So how about society? Verse number 7, the rich ruleth over the poor, the borrower is servant to the lender. There are many people in our society who are financially irresponsible. Would y'all agree with that? We have a nation that's financially irresponsible, right? Trillions and trillions of dollars of debt. We can just, go print more or borrow more from whoever we're borrowing it from. And so I think our nation is teaching our younger folks that, hey, it's okay to have all these things because you can just borrow and borrow and borrow. Well, when you do that, the rich rules over the poor. And the lender is always going to be servant to the borrower. So those who you're borrowing money from, you are servant to them, right? How am I servant to them? Because if I don't pay them what I owe them, what's going to happen to those things that I own? They're going to take them back because they belong to them still. So there are people who are financially irresponsible. They take on loan after loan after loan to the point they can't even function even more. They add more and more debt to their credit cards to the point the minimum payment's not doing anything for them. Solomon gives us great advice. The borrower is servant to the lender. If you are surrounded by debt, you know that you are trapped in a bad place. You are servant to all the people you owe money to. And listen, I think young people today need a class in what a credit score is. I know that sounds far-fetched, but this is something young people should understand. That, hey, if you got a credit score of 600, 550, you're going to need to work on that before you start getting things. And, unfortunately, people look at that kind of stuff, and in order to get a house, get a car, they look at that stuff. And so, where are they going to learn all these things from? Where are kids going to learn all these things from? I was teaching my kids about a credit score when they were probably about 12 or 13. I was telling them about a credit score. And I was trying to do everything I could to make sure they started off on a good note with their credit score. Now, what they do once they're adults, that's going to be on them. But I've tried my best to instill in them the importance of being financially responsible. That, hey, a credit card shouldn't be used as a means of paying bills constantly. I got into that trap. When I was very early in our marriage. We got into that trap, using a credit card as a means to pay all kind of bills. Of course, the recession didn't help, and me losing my job didn't help. But we got so far in debt that time, our credit score began to go down. I mean, I'm learning all this stuff as a young married person. And finally, man, we got out of that trap. We got out of that hole. We were able to climb out. And man, me and my wife both now are working hard to make sure that our credit score stays good. So the moral of the story is, be careful how much you're borrowing, all right? I know sometimes in life you've got to borrow things, but we should not borrow to the point where we just can't pay the payment anymore. Verse 8, he that soweth iniquity shall reap vanity, all right? So when you sow wickedness, you're going to reap nothing. There's going to be nothing given back to you except punishment. And the rod of his anger shall fail. Verse number 9. He that had a bountiful eye, this is a giving eye right here, or one that he wants to always give. He that has a bountiful eye shall be blessed, for he giveth of his bread to the poor. In other words, when you give a good name, when you have a good name of generosity, it's okay to be a good giver and reach and help people that are in a different situation than you are. God wants us to be generous people. He says, when you are generous, you're going to be blessed. Why? Because you're giving your bread to the poor. How do I ensure I have a good name? Well, give to people. How do you ensure that contention and strife is nowhere to be found in your life? Verse 10, cast out the scorner. Listen, sometimes you just need to get rid of the bad people in your life. Amen? You do. Listen, young people, they surround themselves by bad influences. Cast out the scorner, and contention shall go out. How do I get away from anger and strife? Well, cast out the people that are bringing it in your life. Now, if that's your husband or your wife, you just might need to work on this, okay? All right, you might need to work on. You might need to go through some counseling sessions and learn how to manage these things. Cast out the scorner, contention will go with it. So you want to live a good life? It says, strife and reproach shall cease. How do I get rid of strife in my life? How do I get rid of contention? Get rid of those who are causing it. Right? Just don't hang out. Listen, if you got buddies and they're constantly bringing you stress and they're bringing you anxiety and they're bringing you down, you don't need that in your life. Get rid of them. Because all the problems that they bring are going to go with them. All right? Find new friends. Find some godly friends, because iron sharpeneth iron. We're going to jump down to verse 13. Well, look at verse 12. We'll just read it. Or 11, I'm sorry. He that loveth pureness of heart, for the grace of his lips, for the grace of the lips of the grace of his lips, the king shall be his friend. The eyes of the Lord preserve knowledge, and he overthroweth the words of the transgressor. The slothful man saith, there's a lion without. I shall be slain in the streets. In other words, I'm not going out There's a lion out there, right? The lazy man's like, I'm not going out there. So he's not willing to get in a fight. He'd rather stay inside and leave the job to somebody else. Verse 14 speaks of a strange woman. The mouth of a strange woman is a deep pit. Now, this is an immoral woman. Now, the mouth of her is a deep pit. One that we don't want to get involved in, right? Those strange women. Don't get involved with them. He that is a whore of the Lord shall fall therein. So if you fall into the trap of an immoral woman, listen, you're in a deep mess. And God can bring you out of that deep mess. But we got to be careful with that. How do I have a good name? Listen, if you're married, you be faithful to your wife. You be faithful to your husband, right? Don't be trying to look for something else on the other side of the fence. Well, the grass is greener over there. And I've always heard the saying, yeah, the grass is always greener over there because there's more fertilizer over there. And I'll just say fertilizer, okay? There's more things for the grass to grow. Where my dogs are at in their little fence, that grass grows faster than it does in my front yard. You can understand the reason why it does that. There's more. The grass is greener in there because there's a lot more fertilizer in there. Just because it looks good or pleasant and you think, well, nobody will know about it, stay away from it. It brings destruction. The strange woman is a deep, deep pit. Verse 15, foolishness, I like this. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. What is a child born with? Foolishness. It's bound in there. You mean my little angel has foolishness bound in their heart? Yes, they are liars. They come out like, they cry, there's nothing wrong with them. You pick them up and they're like, I'm happy now. Right? Nothing in the world wrong with them, but foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. How do I get my child quit acting foolish? I'll give you the answer. Now, this is the Bible answer. The rod of correction shall drive it from them. Amen. That's what the Bible says. That, hey, if your child is misbehaving, there's nothing, you don't need to be beating your child. You don't need to be leaving bruises on your child, hitting your child upside the head or anything like that. But I personally believe in punishment, corporal punishment, where, hey, it's okay to have the rod of correction in your home, right? I'm sure the rod of correction has been used on all of you. It's been used on me. I turned out okay. At least I think I did. You may not think I turned out okay, but I think I turned out okay. Listen, I can vouch for this. Foolishness was bound in my heart of a child. And you know what my dad was intent on getting? Bringing the rod of correction and driving it far from me, right? So when your child acts up, there has to be some discipline. There has to be something driving that foolishness out of their life. We want our children to have good names. Children need structure. Children need guidance. They're children. They've been put in your home to bring guidance and to raise them up in the admonition of the Lord. That's what we've been trained to do. Verse 16 speaks of our reputation again. To the poor, he that oppresseth the poor, to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. Verse 17, I love this. How can I have a good name? Bow down thy ear and hear the words of the wise. How can I ensure that I have a good name? You just need to listen to when someone speaks wisdom. Bow down your ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply thy heart unto my knowledge. It's one thing to hear it, to listen to it. It's another thing to apply it to our heart. When you hear something in the Word of God and it penetrates your heart, you say, man, that's good. I need to apply it to my life. Bow down. Listen to the words of the wise. Apply the words of the wise to your heart so that you can increase your knowledge. Verse 18, it is a pleasant thing if thou keep them within thee, they shall withal be fitted in thy lips. Listen, the words of the wise, you apply them to your heart, they're going to become who you are now. They're going to be your lips. It's going to be manifested in what you say. It's a pleasant thing to keep them within. Verse 19, that thy trust may be in the Lord. I have made known to thee this day, even to thee. It speaks again of the importance of keeping the words of the wise. Verse 20, have not I written to thee excellent things in counsels and knowledge? Why? That I might make thee know the certainty of the words of truth. In other words, we speak things to people so that they can hear the words of the truth. All right, he says, hey, I'm telling you all this so that you will know certainty the words of the truth, that thou mayest answer the words of truth to them that send unto thee. Verse 22 speaks our reputation again to the poor. Rob not the poor, because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate. For the Lord will plead their cause and spoil the soul of those that spoiled them. How do I have a good name? Verse 24, make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go. If someone's got an anger problem, anger management, and they just don't know how to control it, maybe you shouldn't be around them all the time. Make no friendship with an angry man. Verse 25, why? Why shouldn't I make a friendship with an angry man? Lest his ways become my ways, right? Unless I start acting like him. Now this is speaking of somebody who's just living a foolish life. We should not make friendships with him because we're going to learn his way and it's going to be a snare to our soul. That's what it says in verse 25. Verse 26, be not thou one of them that strike hands. This is shaking hands. Or of them that are sureties for debts. Don't pledge yourself to take care of somebody else's debt. This is just having a good name, because their debt, if you're a co-signer or something on it, your debt is going to impact, or their debt's going to impact you. So we got to be careful. Verse 26. Verse 27. If thou hast nothing to pay, why should he take away thy bed from under thee? It's talking about making this pledge. Verse 28. Love this verse. You probably have heard this verse. Remove not the ancient landmark which thy fathers have set. Remember what your fathers and mothers have taught you, and teach them to your children. I love what Hebrews 12, verse 1 and 2 says. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. Listen, people have gone on before us, and they have taught us how to live this life. And that's what he's talking about. Remember those people that done something good for you. Don't remove those things from your life. Remember those impacts that people have made. Verse 29, seest thou a diligent man in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. This is talking about a man that is diligent in his business. He's going to be rewarded. Now, very quickly, I'm going to ask you 25 questions. 25 questions. I'm going to give you multiple choice. They are in there in the app. All you have to do is click the little check on the right, and it'll say answer right there on that check. Okay. What should be chosen rather than great riches? A, my wisdom. B, a good name. Or C, God. B, a good name. What should be chosen rather than silver and gold? The lips that drip honey, fallowed ground, or loving favor? I mean, some of these, they're just like softball throws here. Like you can hit them out of the park, all right? This is the easy quiz. This is very easy. Who made the rich and the poor? Man, y'all, way to go on that one. I thought y'all were going to say wormwood or the four horsemen. Number 4, who foresees evil and hides himself? Is it the unstable ones, the forlorn, or a prudent man? Prudent man, yes. Number 5, by the fear of the Lord and by what are riches, honor, and life? Is it humility, downtrodden ones, or honorable others? Humility, yes. Well, y'all listen very well. Number 6, what are in the ways of the perverse? Is it thorns and snares, the door of her house, or honor among thieves? The first one, thorns and snares. All right, that's what's in the way of the perverse. Number 7, what training should a child get? Honor and living, how to make money, or the way he should go? The way he should go, yes. Number 8, who is servant to the lender? Is it the devoted ones? Is it the disobedient ones or persons? Or is it the borrower? Wow. How many of y'all are 100% so far? Way to go. Y'all are just smart. All right. Number 9. Why is he who has a generous eye to be blessed? He gives his bread to the poor. It's like a consuming fire, or for his unconcern. Number 1. Yeah. He gives his bread to the poor. He who sows what will reap sorrow. If you sow oats, iniquity, or discord. Iniquity, yes. Discord there is kind of the same thing, discord. Contention will leave when who is cast out? Your youth? Oh, throw them out. The aged or the scoffer? Okay, that was a pretty easy one right there. That was a really slow pitch right there for you guys. All right, the king's friend will have what on his lips? Now, this one we didn't really go over. Disobedience, enrapture, or grace. Grace. Hey, y'all got it, though. The Lord overthrows whose words? The leaders, the faithless, or the king? Faithless. We didn't really go over that one either, but y'all did good. Who says, there's a lion outside? Is it the lazy man, angels in heaven, or your parents? If your parents say, you better listen to them. Anyway, verse number 15. What is a deep pit? A seducer of sorts, a cistern, or the mouth of an immoral woman? The mouth of an immoral woman. Number 16. What is bound up in the heart of a child? Knowledge, foolishness, or prudence? Foolishness, yes. Number 17. What will come to a person who oppresses the poor to increase his own riches? A pleasant place, poverty, or his own iniquities? Poverty. Yeah. Yep. He'll be poor. Number 18, incline your ears to the words of the wise and applying your heart to what? Building boats, making the money, or knowledge given in the Proverbs. That one's pretty easy there. Where is it a pleasant thing to keep the words of the wise? Pass it on within you or store it in the bank? What? No. Within you. Within you. Keep the words of the wise inside you. All right? Number 20. Proverbs make one to know the certainty of the words of what? The rich, the good-hearted, or truth? Truth. Number 21. Who pleads the cause of the poor and afflicted? The Lord, the poor who returns profits, or he who has mercy on the poor? Close, but it's the Lord. It's the Lord. The Lord pleads the cause of the poor and afflicted. And all these are in the verses that we've gone on. See verse 23. For the Lord will plead their cause and spoil the soul of those that spoiled them. I'm not making this stuff up. All right, number 22. Why should you not make friends with an angry man? You'll be injured accidentally. Mercy and truth will be absent, or lest you learn his ways and you set a snare. See? Learn his ways, yeah. But I think mercy and truth will be absent too yeah. Do not shake hands in a what? A verbal agreement, a pledge, or a labor dispute? A pledge. Do not remove the what? He who has dust from one's feet, a crown prince, or the ancient landmark? The ancient landmark. And the last one. Who will stand before kings? A man who excels in his work, one who is versed in the sciences, or a true witness? Close. It is a man who excels in his work. If you notice in verse 25 or 29, seest thou that a man diligent in his business or diligent in his work, excelling in his work, will stand before kings. But also, I believe a true witness could too. So, anyway, those are just little follow-up questions to make sure that, we went over everything that we needed to go over. Something new we're trying tonight. So, if you didn't get them all right, it's okay. We'll forgive you. This is not going to be turned into any school board or anything like that, so you're going to be okay, all right? But I encourage you to keep those notes. You can email them to yourself. You can read over them. You can look over them. All those notes are always available, especially if you fill them out there. Go back and reference them at times. remember everything going on Sunday night. We're not having our small groups on Sunday night, but man, I did love our Sunday night small groups this Sunday. I learned something new that, ladies, I don't know if y'all know this. I'll teach y'all a little bit something tonight. But the receptacles, sometimes the ground, which is if you have three prongs, it's that one that's in the middle. Y'all know what I'm talking about, ladies, if you're plugging in something. All right, that's called the ground. Sometimes it's turned towards like the ceiling, and sometimes it turns toward the ground. In commercial buildings, it goes up and down, or it goes towards the ceiling, like it's up. The other one's it's down. I learned something new. I just thought people were trying to get on my nerves. I thought they were just trying to make me have to turn that thing. Because, when you have to turn it, it's annoying, isn't it, Brother Noel? It is. So I've heard I know the men's teacher did fantastic. I heard the ladies' teacher did a great job. And I can't wait till the week after next. But this week we got block partying. We still need a lot of cakes. If you're able to give monetary donations, we could use some of that as well. Individually wrapped chips, we desperately need some of those as well. Even if you're going to bring them on Sunday and you're like, I'm just bringing them and don't tell them about it, please tell us so that we don't just go out and buy a whole bunch of chips for no reason. If you can bring chips, that'll be great. You say, well, I'll bring a cake. I'm telling you, the cakes are going to go super, super, super fast. So if you can make a cake, make a cake. If you can't, go buy a cake. If you don't want to do either one of that, you can send money and I'll go buy a cake for you. How about that? All right. So if you can help out with that, that'd be great. Sunday morning, we're starting the book of Acts. I'm looking forward to that. So make sure you're in your place. Invite somebody to be with you. And I think we'll go home on that note, okay? Brother Jared and Henry, would you close us in a word of prayer, and then we'll get out of here.